Hello, Rebecca McLaughlin here, author of Nameless Queen, and I'm going to answer some questions today. These are questions I've been asked over the comments of my YouTube videos, social media, or other avenues. So feel free to ask questions. I do answer them either directly or like this. One, on my last video, someone asked, how does one get into knives exactly? Let me just glance around. There's one, there's one, there's one. Is that one? Yeah, there's one too. I've got them everywhere. They're just kind of everywhere. And I think in the last video I threw this one around and caught it because I fear nothing. That's not true. That's not true. I fear a lot of things. But there is a super quick 3-part answer to this question. One, when I was younger, I was terrified of knives. I didn't even want to cut things. I took it upon myself to spend more time with them and get familiar with them so that I'd be less afraid. Part 2 is I am a fidgeter. Most often it comes in the form of twiddling a pencil. This is what I taught myself to do in high school at my desk, resulting in many a clatter in the middle of class. My teachers weren't super happy. They were even less happy when I got into the habit of throwing it like this in circles. 1 circle, 2 circles, just circles over and over again. Which one time I threw a pen at my teacher. It just hit the whiteboard, landed next to her, and she just kind of looked at me like, are you going to come get this? Oh, yes, sorry. So this kind of transitioned into this, which transitioned into, well, I don't know if I should throw it over myself. Let's be safe. Which kind of transitioned into this. Step 3 is you buy a knife throwing target on a whim at a flea market, and then you have throwing knives, and then you just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It can make a mess, though. Be careful. And you might stab your furniture. Ha 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 ha. All right, question 2. This one's more writing related. Question 2 is, how do you organize your downtime? Do you have any strategies for recovering from particularly stressful parts of the process, such as switching from writing to revising? So I try, especially now during quarantine, self-isolation times, I try to schedule time to meet with my family. Not physically, but once a week we've been trying to do remote family movie night. I will FaceTime with one of my sisters at least every single day. And I also try to schedule time to take a bath or watch one of my favorite TV shows. Especially now, it's important to make sure you're taking time for a variety of activities. I can't tell you what those activities should be, but they should span the breadth between productive and relaxing, creative and analytic. And that can be anything from cleaning your dishes to painting a painting. So a lot of that advice applies to how to recover from stressful, productive situations as well, whether that's your day job or whether it's, I just spent 6 hours revising this section and my brain is dead. Find something to open that release valve, to let off some steam, reduce the pressure. And in terms from transitioning to writing and revising, typically when you go from revision to editing at a big scale, it's kind of an event. You're done with your first draft and you start revising it. There's kind of a pretty clear line already drawn for you. When you revise, however, it's a combination of I'm going to write a whole new chapter or scene, or I'm going to go through and tweak the phrasing in a bunch of places. So it can feel like writing or revising, but it's both and it's the same thing to some extent. In those situations, I did a scene yesterday which was much more heavy with new writing than it was revision, and I had to sort of pull out of the document and go to another notepad or something to write there so that it felt like I was doing something new and I wasn't getting bogged down by pre-existing stuff. Question 3, how do you stay productive in quarantine? Great question. I don't always. I would say I stay productive, but I'm not as productive. It's taking me at least twice as long to get through revisions as it normally would. And it's really hard. I don't have a whole lot of advice here, except for if you're on deadline, if you're under contract, you just kind of have to keep working and find a way to do it. For me, one of the things that I found really helpful is setting up remote writing sessions with other people. In the past, I would go sit at a library or a coffee shop or a restaurant, either with a friend or by myself. So I was out in the world writing, and there's a kind of a level of accountability to yourself and to others when you do that. So transitioning to a remote life means doing that over a video service that's free for most people. So either FaceTime if you all have iPhones, Google Meet or Zoom or something like that, where you can see each other's faces, go on mute while you sprint through work, and then collaborate and kind of talk through what you're working on. I have found that immeasurably helpful. I'm going to be doing it later today. Most of the day Saturdays lately have been devoted to day-long writing sessions, and I've started doing some with one of my sisters during the week, which has been really, really fun. Question 4, what is your next book about? So, my next book is not a sequel to Nameless Queen. It's completely separate. I have no idea how much I'm allowed to tell you, but it is another young adult fantasy. It is set in a Midwestern contemporary rural isolated town. It's got a dash of both fantasy and paranormal, so magic and ghosts. Ooh, ooh. There is a love interest for my main character in this book. There famously is not a love interest in Nameless Queen, much to my pride. But in this book, we start off with our main character, Ada. It starts off with that relationship fracturing, breaking and shattering for reasons. And then the rest of the book is contending with the consequences of the rash actions she has taken. Question 5, how many books have you read in your entire life? I have no idea. A lot. Not as many this year as I would like. Maybe 1 or 2 this year, especially when we got into quarantine. You'd think, oh boy, you have so much time to read. But in fact, my brain is consumed with, oh boy, you have so much time to focus on your day job, and then also your revisions that you're working on slowly, and then also please watch TV or take a bath or do something and talk to your family. So it's been a roller coaster, obviously, and I've not been reading as much as I want to be. I didn't think I'd be this sad, but I kind of am. I need to get back to my books, my reading books. And I used to typically a lot listen to audiobooks on my commute to and from work, and since I don't have a commute, I haven't been doing that, so I better figure something out. Question 6, what is the weirdest and or best part about being in self-isolation / quarantine? So as with everything, there's always downsides, upsides, you know, putting aside the terribleness of everything, the weirdest part has been how much time I spend on my couch. It's kind of concerning how much time I spend on this couch. And to be frank, I didn't have a couch until within the last year, and I've been living here for 6 years. I know, it's weird. I had a really bad futon. I'm like stuck in perpetual post-college mode, even though I've been out of college for 6 years. Yeah. I don't really, aside from this desk chair, my old broken desk chair, a weird giant egg chair, I have my couch to sit on every day. I kind of think I want a big comfy chair or a recliner, but then I'll spend all my time there. I don't know. Furniture is weird and my relationship with it is strange. But that's been weird, how much time I've been devoting to this couch. We're like best friends now. And one of the weirdest upsides is that I've been cooking a lot. Typically in the first week and a half between my shopping sprees. Yeah, I've been shopping once every 2 or 3 weeks instead of once a week, which has been strange. I would normally walk into a store with a single tiny basket and be like, this is all I need for the week. And now I'm like, once every 2 to 3, I'm like, gotta get a big old cart. And then carry it all the way up my stairs. Ugh. But the weirdest thing has been how much I've been cooking. I cooked new things, new types of food. Nothing extraordinarily difficult, but I've done some more baking, and I've cooked Brussels sprouts for the very first time, which if you roast them and they get black in the oven, oh my goodness, are they amazing. But yeah, that's been a skill I've been developing here on my own. All right, and lastly, question 7, what is it like working with a freelance editor when you already have an in-house editor? So for those of you that don't know, I'm working on my second book, which is under contract with my publishing house, Penguin Random House, and my editor there. And for this second book, I'm paying to work with a freelance editor who is in very little way associated with my publishing house. She doesn't work for them. She does have contacts there, which is how I came to know her. It was a weird situation where basically I spent 2 years revising Nameless Queen, and I didn't want to do that again to the extent that I did it with the first book. I wanted to plan out more and have more hands-on feedback as I wrote, and so I've been working with a freelance editor, and she's been wonderful. I love her to death. I feel a lot of guilt because it's taking me longer to revise than I would like it to. I kind of want to weirdly show off and be fast, but also be good, and you can't always have those two things, especially when there's a world pandemic looming over you for most of that time period. So cutting myself some slack. She's also very generous with her time and her energy and her efforts, and all I know is that it's going to result in a better product at the end of this process. And it's been a more enjoyable process for me as well. And so to that extent, it's been really worth it. Alrighty, those are all of the questions that I'm going to answer for you today. If you want to ask some more, it makes doing these videos a lot easier. So go ahead and ask some in comments or reach out over social media and I will be happy to respond. As always, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it and I appreciate you. I put out videos every Saturday about writing and my life as an author. Here's a video YouTube thinks that you will like, and here's my most recent upload. Catch you next time. Bye!